Have you ever wondered why flamingos lift one leg when they stand? Well, it's because if they lifted both legs, they'd fall down! So today I'm going to talk about benign violation theory of humor. In other words, what makes things funny? Now, benign violation theory was first thought of by Dr. Peter McGraw and Caleb Warren from the Humor Research Labs, and it explains that something can be perceived as funny if and only if it satisfies the following two criteria. It is a violation, which means that it violates or threatens the way we think things ought to be, and it is made benign, which means that it can be manipulated to seem okay or acceptable. Now, some of the easiest ways to make a violation benign include creating a psychological distance from the violation, so like you can tell jokes and make them funny about events, horrible events that happened either a really long time ago in the past, or things that happened to someone else. Violations can also be made benign by presenting an alternative norm, such as those found in puns or wordplay. So, take the pun, dwarves and midgets have very little in common. Now, the violation is that we use the phrase very little to describe the thing that dwarves and midgets have in common. That violates how we normally use that phrase in that context. Now, the alternative norm presented is the normal use of that phrase in that context, which is that there's not much in common between dwarves and midgets. Benign violation theory explains also why little kids find tickling so amusing. When a kid gets tickled, it isn't an attack on the kid, so it's a violation, but it's also benign because the kid knows that he or she isn't really in any real danger. Now, if some stranger just walked up on the street and started tickling you, you'd probably freak out a little bit. This is called a malign violation, which is a violation that isn't benign. It's a violation, obviously, because you're being tickled by some random stranger, and it's not benign because you really don't know if the stranger means any harm or not. Malign violations can be perceived as obscene or even threatening, as in this tickling case. Now, let's dissect a joke. I read this really funny one-liner on the internet the other day. A cannibal passed his friend in the woods. For those of you who didn't get it, I'll repeat it one more time. A cannibal passed his friend in the woods. Pretty morbid, right? But still kind of funny. Now, this joke satisfies the benign violation theory because eating your friends and pooping them out in the woods violates what we think of as generally socially acceptable behavior. And it is benign because this is just something that happened to someone else whom we know to be an imaginary character. So in this case, the way we made the violation benign is creating that psychological distance I was talking about earlier. Now, had I given the cannibal's friend who got eaten like a backstory and a personality or something, it wouldn't have been quite so funny. It might have even been a little bit tragic, because it would have been a malign violation. So that's it, that's benign violation theory. I'm a little bit sorry I've kind of ruined jokes for you, but I hope that having a deeper understanding of humor kind of compensates for that. And for those of you still curious, there are a number of theories that attempt to explain why large wading birds lift one leg when they stand, but the most likely explanation is that since they don't have feathers on their legs, they lose a lot of heat through their legs, so in order to minimize the heat loss, they tuck one leg into their body. So now you know. This has been my Orange Chair Minute. Thank you, and have a great day.